Call to meeting, call to order the regular council afternoon meeting for Tuesday, June 11th, 2024. This meeting is being recorded live and is streaming on the District of Summerland YouTube channel. All representations to council, written or verbal, will form part of the public record and be available to the public for viewing electronically or as a written record. Corporate officer, do we have any late items?
Today, no.
No late items. Could I get an approval of the agenda, please? Councillor Betts, Councillor Peak, all in favor? That carries. Consent agenda. Would anybody like to remove anything from the consent agenda? Councillor Betts?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to discuss item B, the letter to the Minister of Forests from the city of Campbell River, item B.
Okay, so that'll go down to item 9. Could I get an approval of the consent agenda as amended? Councillor Betts, Councillor Peak, all in favor? That carries. Straight to delegations. First up, Mr. Hacking, Summerland Dog Owners Association.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm Robert Hacking. I'm presenting on behalf of Summerland Dog Owners Association. Today, I'm here to provide an update of our advocacy efforts today. Through. There we go. We have spoken with many people who have shared with us how much they love this park. A key theme we always come across is community connection. Not only is the park a place for exercise, it has also become a hub for social connection, creating and strengthening friendships, and has provided a safe, inclusive place for many who would otherwise feel disconnected from the community. We've also heard how much the dog park helps in overcoming social anxiety, depression, and feelings of isolation. A new routine for many is to get out of the house and come enjoy the fresh air at the park daily. We also notice there are substantially less geese. The picnic and beach areas are cleaner, safer, and more enjoyable. This is a benefit all users can now enjoy. We note the park is no louder than it was before. Kids playing and screaming is what you often hear when it's not being drowned out by the loud boats, the motorbikes, and the truck traffic that is normal there. Dog noise is really not the issue, it's just the excuse, one used by individuals to try and control how the public park is used and enjoyed. The park is a beautiful space that is nearby, accessible, and safe, providing physical, social, and mental benefits that many more can now share. The large shared green space is bigger than the dog park itself and provides ample space for everything the park is known for. I myself have been down there, seen birthday parties, reunions, and gatherings taking place just as the same as they have before. Other park users were asked if the dog section impeded their use or enjoyment at all. They said this was not the case. Many, in fact, saw the dog park as a welcome addition. And the layout just works. It has separate parking areas, washrooms, good lighting, and access to clean water. By repurposing a portion of the unused field into a much needed community amenity, the park is still not only still multi-use, it is a better multi-use. A brief overview here. I won't go through everything. Summerland Dog Owners Association has been advocating for such a park since 2012. Our first proposal was presented to district staff in 2013, and at that time identified Peach Orchard as a suitable location. It took until 2016 before council agreed to hear that same proposal. In 2017, consultants were hired, many meetings conducted, and the public thoroughly engaged through to 2021. Master plans showed the need and suitable locations were identified, but instead of being pursued, there was always some new delay. The study of dog parks in Summerland can be described as exhaustive, thorough, and expensive. In 2022, we engaged the city on dog bylaws and park updates. We stood in defense of historical public lake access against lobbying by waterfront property owners. When the new dog access signs at several parks were vandalized and removed, we ensured they were replaced promptly. Now, in May 2023, Peach Orchard Trail Dog Park began, and we have all witnessed the park become a vibrant hub for community and socialization. There's a constant reference to a better location, but the studies have been exhaustively done and even repeated. Every other better location has already been rejected by council, and revisiting the unsuitable locations will not achieve different results. What can be gained by rehashing the site at Canyon View Perpetual Slide when it is no less dangerous, accessible, or cost prohibitive than it was 5 years ago? And if $127,000 is too much to build a park at Dale Meadows, how is the math then supposed to work if we buy or lease private lands? Peach Orchard is the better location. This morning, we submitted to the district original copies of our latest petition. Now, quite a thick document. Since our last December update, we've received 466 additional signatures. As of this count, we have an amazing 1,146 handwritten signatures supporting this dog park. In conjunction with our 2019 petition, we've collected over 1,400 people who have signed their support for a permanent dog park in Summerland at Peach Orchard Park. We are now over a decade on this journey, and we believe that the field at Peach Orchard has proven it is an excellent location. It provides a greater asset to Summerland as a dog park than left empty and unused like before. Council will always hear the complaints. Rarely the good things council does will result in letters and speeches. Yet look at how much gratitude and positivity has come from this dog park. So let's make the park permanent and move on. Community members need the certainty that a safe place for them will be there. No other recreational group is treated like this. The dog park is extremely popular. Like any other popular park venue, it needs appropriate level of upkeep. Accessibility is a huge benefit to this location. Together we can make it better. And finally, a permanent dog park provides the certainty and stability for residents to become invested and encourages civic pride, which becomes engagement in our community and its assets. So thank you. We greatly appreciate council's time in letting us present to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Council, any questions? Councilor Betts.
Thank you. And thanks for your presentation today. I do always appreciate it. It's been so interesting to be hearing from all of our different perspectives over the past couple of years, even though this has been going on much longer. But I do want to ask what, you know, as one of the members involved from the very get-go, how do you perceive how much these users in this one space in the fenced areas at times when the turf is really wearing down and there's problems with either mud with high water levels, or if it's dried out because of just drought conditions, and the wear and tear in one location as compared to taking the opportunity to have the park transition to other locations perhaps over time?
Thank you for the question, through to Councillor Betts. I don't know of any other community that rotates dog parks. It's not, as far as I understand, a best practice. As far as the issue with the field itself, this is a maintenance issue. There are strategies that can be employed to minimize the damage. It's different grass turfs. There's watering schedules that need to be appropriate for that location. There's also, we've seen that we can rotate the entrances, which helps refurbish the heavily worn areas. What I see when I come to the park is the areas that are worn are not worn because dogs are running on them, and they're worn because people are using them. The park is extremely popular. When Memorial Park has its concerts through the summer, that field sees wear. We don't shut it down and get all upset about it. This is a maintenance issue, and it can be addressed, and there are strategies we can use to help minimize the wear on the turf. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Worship. Robert, thank you for the presentation. And I believe that the Dog Association, Summerland Dog Association, has done a phenomenal job in promoting and bringing out dog owners, seeing what the benefits are of this park. And I do thank you for all the work that you've done in regards to this.
Through to Mayor, to Council Patton, thank you for your comments. We recently had a photo shoot last Sunday, and we had an astounding turnout. The picture's been circulating on Caston, and well over 50 people, well over 50 dogs, all there, well behaved. This really is a community asset, and it's well loved by so many people. And these are people who aren't going to come up and speak in council or rarely send you an email, but they're so grateful that that park exists for them to come and enjoy.
Councillor Betts?
Thank you. I have another question. So one of the challenges that we've heard feedback on is residents, whether they're visitors or Summerlanders using the park, aren't necessarily respecting that dogs need to be on leash from the time they get out of the car till the time that they're in the park, just because the pups are just so very excited to get out there and exercise and have some fun. But also understanding that there's other park users who really aren't comfortable with dogs maybe being off leash in those areas and with their kids and stuff. So is there any way that you feel that your group could help be part of a positive message to get people to have their dogs on leash until they're in that park so that we can be respectful to all users if they were to continue in that location?
Thank you through to Councillor Betts. We have always advocated responsible dog ownership, and part of that is having control of your dog. It's for the dog's safety. Nobody wants to run over a dog. Nobody wants their dog run over. We have actually posted signs supporting the bylaws that are in place down at the park, encouraging users to keep their pets leashed up to and from the park, to pick up after their mess, to avoid digging of holes. We recognize that not all dogs behave, but owners have a responsibility to take care of their dogs, and that's an education piece. And it's an education piece we can do through signage, we can do through outreach, and we can do through building this community.
Mr. Hacken, you're recommending that this park be made permanent now. 6 months ago, you were recommending the existing modular fencing be used for a longer period of time. So I'm just wondering what's changed in the last 6 months.
We are 6 months later, which is that longer period of time. I think the feedback has been clear. Our support petition is over 1,000 signatures for this park. People have to come down to the park to sign that. There are people using this park, people loving this park. If there was any other facility that got this much positive feedback, it'd be a rubber stamp in most councils. We are treated differently as dog owners than any other recreational user. And I think the last 6 months over the winter has shown how this park is needed, how it does not interfere with the existing uses. So I think the time isn't, we've spent too much time on this issue as it is. Let's make the park permanent.
Okay, Council, any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our second delegation, Mr. Tumback from Locomotive.
Good afternoon, Council. Thank you for receiving our delegation. My name is Thomas Tumback. I'm from Local Motive Organic Delivery, here to present to the Council about our operation as well as some exciting updates regarding the Food Hub project, the Okanagan Food and Innovation Hub, as it's formerly known. Okay, so our business was started about 19 years ago. We are a group of farmers. We run an organic farm in Garnet Valley. We also are distributors, and we work with a number of farmers. And our mission is to build a network of producers and farmers to provide sustainable and resilient supplies of food for consumers in our region, but also abroad. So supporting the network of farmers is really our mission. Our company started as a CSA program. We initially started when we noticed that there was a lack of distribution of locally produced goods within our region. A lot of those products were being shipped to the Lower Mainland and then would be return shipped to our area. And we found that there was actually quite a lot of demand for locally made things, but there's no connection point. So we started an online consumer supported CSA home delivery service, which is still operational. And over the years, we've also added on a a wholesaling component as well to restaurants and retailers in the region. So we employ local people and people applying for permanent residency in Canada, which we find is very important to building a more resilient food system. We also were gracious enough to be awarded the Business in Agriculture Excellence Award last year. And very exciting news for us this fall and spring was upon applying for the Investment Agriculture Foundation Food and Storage and Distribution Grant. We were awarded a $3 million grant to construct a facility for storage and distribution for the South Okanagan region. So just a little backstory on food hubs. What is a food hub? A food hub is a consolidation point for communities to take advantage of local food networks and systems, to also provide processing facilities for emerging new producers or processors who are in need of equipment or services related to processing of foods. In general, there is a lot of waste involved with primary agriculture. So upwards of 40% of primary produce, for example, is often going into a compost pile. So one reason why we need a food hub is to basically provide an avenue for that food to be processed and saved, to try to divert it from the waste stream. So in recent years as well, we've had many instances of food shortages in our region due to road closures. In October of 2021, I believe the Coquihalla was washed out. We all experienced what food insecurity is at that point. That is possibly known as a food emergency. There's also a lot of people that experience food security issues on a daily basis. And those people are unable to afford food. So food hubs are intended to try to make food more accessible for all residents, all people in the region. And this can be done by reducing shipping costs, unnecessary transportation, and by having a more consolidated regional food supply, whereby we have networks of local suppliers. We can take advantage of many grades of food, helping them to become more available for all different demographics and trying to divert them from those waste streams. By adding processing and facilities for processing in our region, we're then able to also create jobs, create more value out of the food. So something that's being thrown away is now worth 3 or 4 times the value of what it was worth as a primary product. So it's good for job creation, economic impact. And as the council is already aware, a feasibility study was done for the food hub facility, and a grant was awarded to the food hub society, which is known as the Okanagan Food and Innovation Hub. And that was a year ago that organization, through the help of Community Futures, was able to secure a grant for equipment and some operational overhead costs to get the ball rolling on the project. So I'm sorry, I found the wrong way there. So as mentioned, our company was awarded a grant to construct a 16,000 square foot facility, which includes cold storage, frozen storage, dry storage, packaging, handling, commercial, HACCP approved processing and kitchen space. The construction of the facility is going to start in February of 2025. Will be completed within a year. So at this point in time, our company is approaching council to ask for a memorandum of understanding that we will lease between 6,000 and 10,000 square feet of space from this new facility to the Okanagan Food and Innovation Hub at a fair market rate. Also, I'm here to present a concept for a governance structure for that organization that will run and operate the Food Hub facility. So the Food Hub is intended to be a society, a nonprofit organization, which is essentially run in order to create the greatest amount of benefit for the users and the community. I've also been investigating models for our privately owned company, which is a sole proprietorship. We would like to transform our company into a cooperative model. There are many types of cooperatives. You might be familiar with some in the Valley that are farmer owned. What we're trying to propose is a community service type cooperative, which is very similar to a nonprofit. The cooperative could be a model for the governance of the Food Hub facility. It would be an organization which can be used by farmers and belong to farmers. It could be belong to processors as well as workers, consumers. These types of cooperatives are known as multi-stakeholder cooperatives. And the reason why we feel like this is the most suitable model for the operation of a facility is because it allows for community ownership of the resources that are being used in the facility and maximizing the benefit to the community as a whole. There are many different ways of setting up a cooperative, and this possibly needs more research by the council and the people in charge of the project at this current point in time. But we would like to suggest that the model of governance be looked at as a cooperative because it will attract more users. It will give a sense of ownership of those users to the facility and the project. And there are some very innovative ways that cooperatives can also set up investment type shares in the cooperative. Investment type shares allow for capital raising by the organization such that investors can put money into the project, say for new equipment down the road, or to increase, say, budgets for buying inventory. There's different ways of using investment shares to attract community investment as well, not just from the members, which can often be a limitation for cooperatives. So there's many different reasons why a cooperative could be a good model for this organization. Our company would be a good partner in this because we have such extensive experience in the region with local products as well as producers. We do have an existing sales track record that is very consistent and would allow the operation of this facility to hit the ground running as opposed to starting from scratch. And in a nonprofit type community service cooperative, it would be good to have some form of sales existing going into the project as opposed to building from zero. So with our existing staff, our existing sales, we do believe that we would be able to make this project run very quickly and very successfully. I'm confident that all the relationships we've built over the years will benefit the whole program because we will be attracting farmers as well as consumers to the table. and as well as nonprofit organizations. We have a lot of experience working with schools, food banks, and rural buying groups as a part of our business. So we do believe that if we were able to figure out a way to transform our business into a cooperative model, it might be a way for all parties concerned to make use of the facility as one umbrella organization. And I'm sure you'll have this question, what do we do about the asset of our business? This is where the investment shares could come in very handy for the project. We could determine a value for a business at a fair market rate. It would become a part of investment shares in the cooperative. There would be a small dividend payout for that investment, but I think the benefit to the whole project would be over and above what that small annual dividend payout would be from that investment. And it also shows our commitment to the project as well. So today we're asking the council if they will proceed with a memorandum of understanding to sign with Locomotive as the ideal facility for the space for the food hub project. And also propose that Locomotive will put the work and effort into developing a model for a community service cooperative that could facilitate the operation of the facility. Also today, I was supposed to comment on an update that there was a partnership initially with the Okanagan Crush Pad company based in Garnet Valley. We were initially intending to build the facility on the property in Garnet Valley, but for reasons of accessibility as well as mostly accessibility, we wanted to move the project closer to the highway. And we are in the process of securing a site that will be more ideal, allowing more users to access and get their products into the food hub facility. There are also issues with the access in terms of safety in Garnet Valley with the original site. So that was another reason why we wanted to move the facility to a new site. So thank you for your consideration on this project.
Okay, thank you very much. Council, any questions? No, Councillor Peak.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Thank you, Tom. That was a very good presentation. I haven't been seized of this for 4 years. So coming back to council and understanding the work that was being done and the monies that have been made available through the federal funding, I thought the opportunity of having a food hub would really come to realization. So with the change from a site out Garnet Valley, due partly to economics, not just with the siting itself, I think the outline that you've shown us with your Locomotive as an anchor to this hub is totally a possibility for making this happen. And I'm very pleased that a local business that has the kind of depth that yours has and the contacts are interested in helping us proceed with this. So I'm very pleased you came forward today to do this presentation.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Betts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Tumbak, for coming today and presenting about Locomotive's mission and the transformation that you're proposing to move through, which, you know, in many ways is very interesting because it's driven by a desire to improve access to processing and this food hub idea for the entire Okanagan's milk mean and not just your own self as a business person. And that's a big task, what you're undertaking here. And I think it's just fantastic to see somebody being so enthusiastic and taking on such a large burden of ownership of this transformation. So I just think it's really interesting, and what a cool project that can support so many small producers. We can see that the farmers markets are very, they're very busy. There's a lot of local producers who are looking to increase their production, but they're limited in what they can do out of either commercial workspaces or finding that right way. And I really think that there's an opportunity for what you're talking about. And so I know we're speaking about, we'll be discussing your item under agenda item number 7. I just wanted to thank you for the presentation, and yeah, congratulations on all the work so far.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any other questions, so thank you very much. Very informative. Moving on to the public comment opportunity. We have 15 minutes for this, so I would ask everybody to keep their comments to 2 minutes if there's multiple people who want to speak. So as many people who want to speak as possible have the opportunity. First up, Mr. Bessler.
Hi, Council. I'd like to speak to agenda item 7.6. I've noticed that Councillor Barkwell is spreading misinformation online about the new public comment policy by saying that the public comment is being moved to the start of the council meetings, and that's not true. Public comment on non-agenda items is being entirely removed from council meetings. Only delegations can speak, and they need to register over a week in advance. Plus, Graham Stat will have discretion to deny delegations. This is clearly a bad faith attempt by council and the CAO to avoid public accountability. And everyone who's paying attention knows what's really going on here. You can't handle me speaking truth to power. As a concerned citizen, I have attended almost every council meeting this term, and yet the mayor has repeatedly talked down to me in these council chambers, disrespected me, and interrupted me. But I always maintained my composure. Doug Holmes even tried to silence me with a decorum policy, but that didn't change anything. So now council is going to the extreme length of removing public comment under the illusion that it will silence my voice. But you have no control over me outside of these council chambers. You know that, right? So I just want to make one thing crystal clear for the mayor. If public comment opportunity is removed, then I'm pledging here today that I will attend events you go to for the rest of your term as mayor, starting with the ceremony at the new pier, and I'll interrupt your conversations like you've interrupted me in these council chambers. And I'll tell the people that you're talking to, this is the mayor that removed public comment because his fragile little ego couldn't handle public accountability. Because if you remove the longstanding practice of public comment for no other reason than to suppress the public's voice, then you don't deserve any respect at all. You are the problem. So I'll see you at the pier ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Just need your name and address for the record.
Got it. Good afternoon. My name is Jan Carlson. I live at 16218 Garnet Valley Road. And for those of you who want to hound me, I call it 16 to 18. So if you don't like what I say, and you want to put some twigs in my tractor gas tank or put a sign up to say something bad about me, it's a pretty visible driveway. Jan Carlson has a weedy garden. There's one for you. Every place has rules. This room is a place where people are wearing suits and ties, brushed your hair, most of you. There's decorum here. Every place has rules. Dude, you speak a lot to these people, but you're rude. They're just telling you you're rude. And they have the right to tell you that because this is a place of decorum. And you have been very rude to these people. And so I'm here to tell you, council, I see you. I appreciate you. I think you're doing a great job. I see you at public events, open houses, ceremonies. I see you and I appreciate you being there. It is not an easy job for you. I know that you have more than one issue. 2 issues, 3 issues. You have a lot of responsibility, and I appreciate that you take that responsibility seriously. And I believe, truly believe that you listen. And listening does not necessarily mean that you agree. I appreciate that there may be things you don't
Ask you
agree.
to wrap up, please.
Is that it? How many seconds have I got? Holy smokes, thank you for the time.
Thank you very much. Anyone else like to speak, please?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I am Darian McWaters, also known as D McWaters. I can't believe that in 45 years of living here, this is actually my first council meeting I've attended. So I apologize. There will be many more. I'd like to just speak briefly on support of the permanent positioning of a dog park at Peach Orchard Beach. I have been a non-dog owner and now a dog owner again. And I think we've gone around so many times. I followed this so many times. We did a trial at Dale Meadows for small and medium dogs and put up the fence, and perfect, it's done. We've done a year now with Peach Orchard Beach, and I think it's just time to put up the permanent fencing. I look at everything through a lens of equity, diversity, inclusion, and belonging. I don't look at any exclusion of any groups. I look at this whole community as whether it's council community, whether it's a dog owners community. Community means so much to me. And that section of that park has been so underutilized for my entire 45 years living here that it is the best case scenario. We own the land as a council, or sorry, as the community. We've been wasting resources for years and years and years. Accessibility, Robert spoke so eloquently to everything about that, but the accessibility, the social aspect for the dogs and for the people, for mental health, for all aspects, I just say, let's get on with it and let's just make this permanent. Thank you for everything you've been doing. I hope to come up to many more council meetings, and I would like to speak on a lot more things about the community through always the lens of EDI and B, the belonging. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else like to speak?
Is it agenda items or is just anybody coming up to?
Well,
Because that's 2 in a row.
well, the Dog Owners Association was on the agenda.
And one dog supporters, you can go on.
Mike Cosmac, I live on 14419 Downton Ave. Spring is here and the noise level of the temporary dog park has increased, becoming much worse than ever. The area to the south outside of the dog park, the fenced area, is now being used by many other dog owners who don't want to go in, and they are on and off leash. And so virtually the entire park grassed area is now a large dog park. With regards to the slides that we watched, there are many discrepancies, lots of misleading information. I'm not going to go into detail, but the main point is that this park is virtually a single-use park again. With slide 3 and 4 that had a big long timeline, there was one major item that was left off the list. A couple of years before the temporary park went up, there was a scathing letter written from the Dog Owner Association to the mayor and the council at the time pleading them to not put the park down there, the dog park. Here's some quotes. They found it insulting that you guys would do that. The Parks and Rec is confused. Don't know what that means. The whole area is saturated underwater for 6 months of the year. The park is 60% unusable. It's deteriorating badly. Significant taxpayer dollars would be wasted if the park was constructed permanently. The northeast corner, which is where the part of the park is now, is useless, and it's a, quote, marsh. They were wondering whether the soil conditions would even allow a permanent fence to be put in there and stay up. And the final line was, this location is the worst location possible. That was a couple of years before it went up. Since then, nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing. There's been no fill. There's been no drain tiles. In order to do that, it would take much
Ask
now-
you to wrap up, please.
Okay. I just want to thank you for your motion tonight that you're putting forward, and I hope it's a civil discussion, not like the stuff that's going online. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
Hello, my name is Wayne Gooch. I am opposed to the dog park at Peach Orchard Park. I have owned 6 dogs in the course of my lifetime. Nobody's come forward with how much it costs for that temporary fencing. $65,000 should go into a survey to find better uses for that park. I've gone on a cruise ship. I see what cruise ships have to offer in the way of outdoor activities, whether it be outdoor table tennis, shooting hoops, cornhole, horseshoes, bocce, walking track, running track. There's all types of uses for that. So $65,000 that you propose for the fencing should go to revitalizing that park and make it people friendly, not dog friendly. I understand dogs are part of people friendly because when you have a dog, people approach you and say how cute your dog is, whatever. But that money could far better be used for a people go-to place with the expansion of multifamily homes. It is going to be their backyard when it's 90 degrees out in the middle of summer and their suite is too hot to sit in all evening. It would be nice to go sit by the water where you get a breeze off the lake. So I don't see the dog park as being feasible in that location. I would like to see a dog park, but a dog is a personal item and we should not be catering to people and their personal items. Should we build a marina there for boat owners association? I mean, I'm from the Lower Mainland. We had putting greens in our park. We had horseshoe pitches. We had bocce. We have all these things to bring community together. And I think as mayor and council, maybe you should look at other communities, see what they have to offer to bring people together, not dogs together. When I go down there at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's the same 10 or 12 people, and all levels of government are encouraging us to get out of our car.
Thank you.
So to go there,
Thank
you
you.
have.
Thank you, sir. So, someone else?
Hi, council. My name is Michelle. I've lived in this community for 26 years, and I've had dogs all through the 26 years, as well as a very good business. I've been a taxpayer all this time. What I've noticed through the years is we never have a dog park that's safe for our dogs. We have one at Dale Meadows, which is fantastic. This one, however, is larger. It's by water, which is great for the dogs. It's bigger. It's bringing people together. That park has been used for goose poop for many years. A lot of people couldn't even enjoy that section of the park. People are still continuing to enjoy it. They can go down to the water, sit. It's definitely bringing the community together. It's unfortunate that people who purchase a home above a park think that the noise is not going to happen. It's like buying a home near an airport. It continues to grow. You're going to get more noise. The community is growing. The community of dog owners is growing. You're going to have noise. You're going to have noise with people down there celebrating. It's just going to happen. I would like to see, I appreciate that we have this dog park. First of all, I really appreciate that you guys have actually tried to find temporary locations. I like to see this one as a permanent one. The things that I appreciate is that it's fenced. I appreciate that you guys provide doggy bags. I appreciate that there's water nearby so that if the dogs get hot, we can take them to the dog beach area so that they can cool down. I appreciate that there's benches and trees that provide shade. There's easy access for people of all ages and abilities. We have people that come down in walkers or even scooters with their pets. And there's parking and accessibility. So thank you. And I appreciate all you guys taking this time, and I hope we finalize something for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle, can we just get your last name for the record? Yeah.
Stephen.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else like to speak, please?
Good afternoon. I'm here today to address the prolonged presence of the temporary fenced dog park despite its failed trial period. Summerland residents have repeatedly expressed their opposition to the dog park. They voiced their concerns at the end of the trial period. In the past, they rejected fenced dog parks in areas such as Powell Beach and Snow Avenue due to disturbances and interference with residences and existing park activities. In the fall 2023, the Restore POP group initiated an online petition. Despite criticism from SDOA, the group gained substantial support with 1,904 supporters compared to the SDOA's 681 votes. The comparative analysis of these petitions highlights significant local support for restoring Peach Orchard Park. Comparison of the two petitions utilizing the same platform provides fair, publicly accessible information. Comments on the Restore POP petition were written by 78% of Summerland residents. In contrast, only 50% of commenters on the Safe POP Dog Park petition were from Summerland. Persistent barking at POP has significantly disrupted many residents' lives. While supporters argue otherwise, we have provided evidence. Research studies highlight the negative impact of chronic exposure to dog barking on human physical and mental health. Some of the studies were provided to the council for review. The dog park's unpredictable barking and frequent rule violations without enforcement had severely affected nearby residents and others who simply want to enjoy the park. The incessant barking has taken a toll on our quality of life. Unlike the dog park and its fencing, our homes are not movable.
Okay, thank you.
The current.
No, sorry, please. Wait, no, there's another opportunity at the end of the meeting. Okay, so there'll be another opportunity to speak at the end of the meeting. I have people pre-registered to speak at the end of the meeting. I haven't anybody pre-registered speak at this opportunity at the beginning of the meeting. So I think we've run out of time for comment on this, but as I said, there's another opportunity at the end of the meeting. We have to get on to our business items. So first up will be the Okanagan Food and Innovation Hub. If I could turn this over to our CAO, please.
Yeah, just a few remarks, Mayor. Thank you. So lots of work and planning has been done on the concept of the regional food hub, and it remains a key element in Council's published strategic priorities. Like with any innovative and complex project, there has been some changes given the fiscal environment, which have impacted the ability of our original land partner to participate. Nevertheless, with the $800,000 in grant funds we have received to date, and with the partnership with Community Futures, we believe we remain well positioned to see a food hub here in Summerland in the future. The next key step is determining Council's perspective on a new food hub partner, and of course, working towards a land location that works as well for the community to host the endeavor. And with that, I'll turn it over to Brad.
Thanks, CEO Stat. So just a couple of updates. We heard a lot from Thomas as a delegation here from Locomotive, so I won't go over in detail what he had already presented to council, but and there's a lot of detail in my report as well, but just a couple highlights from staff's perspective. So we were awarded the $800,000 grant in February of 2023 from the Ministry of Agriculture and Food. There's an attachment in council's package that indicates that grant approval. And since that time, we've been working with Community Futures Okanagan Similkameen, our project partner on this project, to continue to meet the province's deadlines for moving the project forward for the grant. A big barrier for us has been the land and building partner. Their Okanagan Crush Pad has had concerns about moving a new building forward in this economic climate, as can be appreciated on his end. So for that reason, there has been delays in moving forward with the location of the food hub. And because of, there's been delays on moving forward on that location and actually our building partner, and we were only going to be one subleased area of a new building proposed, there has been also subsequent delays on meeting the ministry's deadlines for the grant. For council's information, in my report are the detailed deadlines for the Ministry of Agriculture's grant. The first two have been completed by our project partner, Community Futures Okanagan's Milkmean. And we've also submitted an extension request through CFOS to the Ministry of Agriculture for items 3 through 6. And verbally, we've heard that the Ministry of Agriculture is expected to grant that request. Specifically, deliverable 5 deals with finding a land and location partner and building partner for the project and confirming that through a lease arrangement for the project. Since we've become aware of Okanagan Crush Pad's desire not to move forward on their property, they have thrown their support behind Thomas and Locomotive Organic Delivery as a new project partner for a land and building partner for the Okanagan Food and Innovation Hub. And that is also shown in the correspondence provided as part of council's package. Again, I'm not going to go through the details as to why Locomotive is a great partner. I think Thomas did a great job on his end explaining the synergy between the Okanagan Food and Innovation Hub and also Locomotive Organic Delivery. And it's an established business with distribution networks already established, as well as now $3 million grant funding from their own sources to establish a storage and commercial distribution center for food and processing. I do want to say a couple things as well with regards to kind of the timelines, like while ideally that we would have additional time to go through an expression of interest process again, which, if council remembers, was the previous process we utilized in the past to find a land and building partner. Because of the ministry's deadlines, we unfortunately don't have the luxury of going through a long process of going through an expression of interest process. And so for that reason, we are before council today to seek council's direction on whether council thinks that moving ahead with Locomotive is the right path forward for this project to make it a reality. And in addition to that, I also want to mention that one of the deliverables that the ministry has required as well is that we set up a project steering committee to provide community oversight of this project, for our project in particular. And as well, Community Futures has posted a project manager position for this project, which would, this committee would provide oversight to that project manager to move forward with a project within our region. And I'm happy to take any questions for council on this one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Guess maybe I should ask the gentleman in the front row there, but Community Futures is all okay with this partnership?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Worship. Brad, you just is the district involved and to be on this committee based on the funds that come from the province, and we need to be involved in regards to how those provincial monies are distributed to Community Futures, which in turn goes to the Innovation Hub. Is that why we as the municipality are going to be involved in this?
Your worship, to Councillor Patton. The requirement for the deliverable is not specific to the District of Summerland as an entity, it's to the project. So this committee doesn't need to be a District of Summerland committee. It can be a committee just providing oversight from a governance level to Community Futures as an example. And right now the grant funding is being held by Community Futures, not by the District of Summerland. So the reporting relationship is that we are providing guidance for Community Futures to move forward with the project within Summerland. But we're not having a direct oversight in terms of responsibility of the grant. That makes sense.
I think I think the good way to think of it is that we initiated this whole thing. I remember in 2015 meeting with Norm Letnick, who was the Minister of Agriculture at the time at UBCM, with this idea of creating a food hub. And so we've initiated, we've been driving it, but the intention was always to, once it was set up, we let go. But somebody needed to be the catalyst. So I think that's always been the district role, is to get it started. So don't think that's ever changed. Councillor Betts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And kind of a follow-up to Councillor Patton's question. So with the memorandum of understanding that we're being requested to endorse, what is the responsibility, like in reading all the package material, but I'm still not clear, what is the responsibility of the district in the memorandum of the MOU? Like, what's our role moving forward? What's our responsibility and exposure to liability?
To your worship, to Councillor Betts. So the draft MOU is provided in council's package as well for council's information. And it does lay out the responsibilities on the District of Summerland, specifically in the draft MOU. And basically what's been drafted for council's consideration here today is kind of following that theme of what the mayor just referenced, of us to basically try to facilitate this project happening within the District of Summerland, have it established, and us get out of the way, really. So that would include for us facilitating processing of any necessary development permit approvals that are required for a new facility to be constructed, to provide local oversight and management of the project manager and any items that are being brought forward that need to be brought forward to council's attention. We also want to work with CFOS to continue to secure grant funding, because if council remembers as well from this project, we needed additional grant funding to keep moving this project forward. And we are still endeavoring to try to get additional grant funding from federal sources, not provincial, to top up the 800,000 grants that we already have in place. As well to work in collaboration with Community Futures on meeting the deliverables of the Ministry of Agriculture and Food, which again are presented in my report, to advocate and apply for additional grant funding for other higher level grant sources, and to provide space in kind if needed for the project manager or other food hub clients if space is not available to Community Futures. So that could be office space, as an example.
Councillor Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through to our Director of Planning. So the Garnet Valley property is off the table. What about, there was other applicants at that time prior to the Garnet Valley property being the one chosen. Have any of these people been approached and saying, you were second, now you could be first, or you're third, you could be, are we looking at any of that?
Yeah, through your worship to Councillor Van Elfen, thank you for that question. I think it was I would say early fall last year, where we were trying to identify another location. We went back to those proponents that were our finalists. There was one that was quickly omitted based on just didn't have the right credentials or qualified abilities to move forward with the project. But there was one finalist that was very close in the scoring criteria, and we did reach out to them and ask if there was an interest in reconsidering our project for their property, and they had informed us at that point in time that they weren't willing to do so.
Okay, no further questions. Oh, Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Worship. Brad, in your report, you talk about financial implications. And you talk about the two nonprofit buildings that we have given relief to in regards to building permits, maybe DCCs, which was the senior center and the Okanagan Food Bank building. And you speak here that if this was to move forward, that the owners would then come to us looking for some financial relief. And I agree with your concern. The food bank building and the Lions senior housing are truly nonprofit organizations. And I have a problem with us looking at funding for-profit business with taxpayer dollars. So I just want to put that out there publicly, that if it, in any way, if public tax dollars are going to be funding for a nonprofit, or I'm sorry, for-profit, I can't agree with that. So, because if we open that door, then every for-profit business in Summerland could be coming to us and asking us for relief of some sort. So for nonprofits, absolutely. For profit, I'm not even interested in one iota in the district investing money into for profit. Anyway, I just wanted to put that out there.
Dylan?
Yeah, I think I just want to clarify that this was actually a cautionary statement by a director of finance, not myself. But I think it's good caution to council that you never know what happens in the future. It's kind of the moral of the story. And I think that we are only right now at this point in time looking to facilitate moving this project forward. There's been I can tell you right now, there's been no communication from the project proponents, from Locomotive Organic Delivery, as well as CFOS, that there would be any potential breaks on DCCs as an example for any projects.
Thank you.
We can't legally assist private businesses anyways, is that correct? Okay, no further question. Oh, Councillor Barkle?
Yeah, the only semi-assured by the fact that it's in the charter, we can't financially assist any individual business, because this model is kind of blurry. They speak of cooperative and investment shares, and maybe it'll be a joint venture, maybe it'll be a partnership, maybe it'll be a limited partnership. I mean, I don't know what the model is going to be, but they might still come to us with some sort of, well, this aspects of this project is nonprofit, and this aspect of it is profit, and because it does seem quite a mixture that to me, it's remarkable that a company got $3 million grant to build facilities that they would then use in their business. But obviously part of the deal is others will be using it too. So it's all kind of hazy at this time, but we can always say no. So that's the defining line.
Okay, now would anybody like to bring a motion forward? Councillor Betts?
I'll bring the staff recommendation forward.
Yeah, can we get that on the screen? Go. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Peak. Any further discussion? Councillor Betts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think I would just like to take the opportunity to again showcase that this is a really interesting opportunity for small producers, for small farmers, for small businesses that are owned by not only, pardon me, not only residents of Summerland, but of the Smilkameen and Okanagan. And I think it's a really good time to try and support these small businesses who are struggling with increased costs. When you have an idea that you want to take to market, it's just so difficult to build out an HACCP standard production facility to take your barbecue sauce to farmer's market. Like it becomes not viable as a business model. And so this kind of opportunity is a real, it's a door opening to a lot of different people. And I think it's so interesting. And this is what supports small independent business owners in our entire region. So I'm in support. I think it's a really interesting project and I sure hope it all comes together. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll just add that it's something that's being identified that's needed in the Okanagan, and the fact that we've been working on this for so long and we're still able to hang on to ensure that it's going to be in Summerland is quite remarkable, because it could very easily have moved to another community. Councillor Peak.
I agree, Mr. Mayor, and thank you very much for allowing me to speak. We often say that we have products and we don't finish them in our own area. We ship them somewhere else to get further dollars invested, and the money then goes to that community or that country or wherever. I think this is a real opportunity for the Okanagan-Similkameen to build its own operations. An innovation hub will allow cooler space for supplies to be housed in. It gives you a certifiable kitchen with production facilities for people to build their product, to have the certification and the time to work with it. It's the equipment for them to work with that they wouldn't be able to have in their own small certified kitchens. I think it's a province-wide opportunity as well as a valley-wide. So I think this is great, and I hope that in the timeframes that we will request an extension on, that we can get this done. I applaud the fact that we've been working at it for 8 or 9 years. So let's do it.
Okay, thank you. No further comments. I'll call the question. All in favor? And none opposed. That carries. Moving on to 7.2, fees and charges amendment bylaw. Corporate officer, I believe.
Thank you, Mayor Holmes. So before council is the draft community services, parks and recreation, and cemetery fees and charges amendment bylaw for consideration for its first 3 readings. The bylaw has been drafted in accordance with the direction provided by council at its May 21st, 2024 committee of the whole meeting, with one further amendment to the parks and recreation fees, which will now pass over to the director of community services to speak to.
Thank you, through the mayor. Good afternoon, council. The proposed schedule includes a new fees schedule for arena advertising. Historically, the district has provided the STEAM Junior Hockey Team and Summerland Minor Hockey Association with the opportunity to sell rink board advertising. They pay the district $100 per advertisement per year and collect the rest of the revenue for their organizations. Last year, the STEAM sold 9 rink boards and minor hockey sold 11, and there are a total of 54. Staff are proposing that the district staff take an active role in selling more advertising and collecting revenue, and have put together a schedule of fees for rink boards, wall boards, stair treads, ice logos, and on the Zamboni. Staff are suggesting the Summerland Minor Hockey Association continue to sell their advertising for their rink board advertisers, as well as the previous STEAM rink board advertisers, as per minor hockey's request, at the current fee of $100 per advertisement, plus the cost of logos and materials to the District of Summerland. Staff are proposing that additional advertising is recruited by the District of Summerland staff and collected as revenue as per the fee schedule proposed as the opportunity arises. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Council, any questions? Yeah, Councillor Peak.
If I may, Mr. Mayor. Laurie, could you tell me a new fee for the George Riga Arts and Culture Center? Tell me what the small meeting room is. I wasn't sure what that room was referring to.
Thank you for the question through the mayor to Councillor Peak. If you are in the upper level of the shared space, to the left, there's a small conference room available. So we don't have a fee in the schedule right now to rent that out. So we're proposing a small meeting room fee for that space.
Thank you. Anyone else? If someone could bring the motion forward, please. Counselor Betts, as presented.
As presented, yeah,
Okay.
I'll bring forward staff
Second.
recommendation.
Counselor Van Elfen, any further discussion? Call the question, all in favor? And none opposed. 7.3, Sophie statements, Director of Finance, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Municipalities are required to provide or prepare a statement of financial information, which we commonly refer to as the SOFI. We do this on an annual basis. The SOFI discloses detailed information that is not readily accessible through the district's audited financial statements. Now, that information includes a schedule of severance agreements, which there were no such agreements in 2023. Schedule of remuneration and expenses for employees whose gross salaries are over $75,000, and a schedule of supplies of goods and services. In total, the district expended $55.1 million in 2023 and had 7 additional employees added to the over $75,000 wage disclosure list, bringing the total number of employees on that list to 60. With council's approval, the 2023 SOFI will be submitted to the ministry prior to the July 2nd deadline to meet their statutory or our statutory reporting requirement. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, Council. Any questions? No. Someone like to bring the motion forward then, please? Councillor Van Elfen, second. Councillor Peak, any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? None opposed, that carries. 7.4, 2023 annual report. CAO, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to give a big shout out to our corporate services team and of course, all the departments who contributed to the 2023 annual report. I've been working in government for more than 20 years and I've seen many annual reports during this time. But I think this year's report really gets to the right level in terms of plain language readability, key facts and figures, and even some great pictures to keep the reader turning the pages. I'm proud of the work that was done by staff in 2023 and all the progress that was made on council's priorities, and also the great summary document that the corporate office has put together, which is the 2023 annual report. With that, I'll turn over to Kendra.
Through the mayor, thank you, CAO stat. So before council, the annual report is prepared and considered by council each year and includes a progress report in relation to the district's objectives and measures and how they integrate with council's strategic priorities. The annual report also includes the previous year's permissive tax exemptions, audited financial statements, and listing of municipal services and operations. The report has been posted online for the public to view for 14 days as required, and an advertisement was placed in the May 30th and June 6th editions of the Summerland Review. No written submissions or questions regarding the report were received by the public. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions, and it's now prepared to be received by council.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions on the annual report? No? Okay, somebody want to move to receive? Councillor Betts, second, Councillor Peak. I'll call the question. All in favor? And none opposed. We'll take a 10-minute break. Back at 3:30. So that's 7 minutes. 2:30 rather. Okay, welcome back. Moving on to item 7.6, council procedures bylaw. CAO, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. So we're back with an amended procedures bylaw as per council's direction. The original impetus for making alterations to the document was Bill 44 and ensuring that we do not conduct a de facto public hearing on subjects where the province has now dictated we cannot have a public hearing. At the same time, council has directed that we make the public delegation opportunity more expansive. With the new provision for public delegations, any member of the public can still have an opportunity to address council on any matter, albeit it's at the front of the meeting instead of the back end of the meeting. This also makes the second public opportunity for public speaking at the end of the meeting redundant, and it is recommended that we remove that. The changes bring us more in line with approaches in other communities that we have researched, with public comment at the beginning of the meeting, focusing on the business items on the agenda. There are many other ways the public can be involved or submit their views to council, and public hearings will still be conducted as usual on those subjects where we are permitted to do so. And with that, I'll turn over to Kendra.
Through the mayor, thank you, CAO Stat. So before council is the draft amendment to the council procedure bylaw, and this amendment includes previous council direction given at its April 29th and May 21st regular council meetings. The proposed amendments include amendments related to Bill 44 to reflect that members of the public are not permitted to address council on any matters on the agenda where a public hearing is not permitted to be held or is waived in accordance with the Local Government Act to ensure that the opportunity to address council is not used to hold a de facto public hearing for those applications where a public hearing is no longer permitted or is not required to be held. Additional amendments are to provide guidance and reduce ambiguity for staff and the public when considering delegation applications, including a maximum of 4 delegations per meeting. Delegations must provide supporting materials prior to the publishing of the council agenda. Inclusion of defined restrictions for delegation topics, and that a delegation be permitted to address council to a maximum of 4 times per year. And the direction provided for delegations aligns with provincial best practices for local government procedure bylaws. There are amendments to the public comment opportunity by removing the second public comment opportunity, but opening up delegations to members of the public, and amending the wording of the remaining public comment opportunity to clarify that only those items listed as business items may be addressed during such opportunity. And lastly, there are amendments to the meeting schedule by amalgamating the afternoon and evening meeting into one meeting and adjusting the order of proceedings accordingly. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions council may have regarding the proposed bylaw.
Okay, thank you. Council, any questions? Councillor Barkwell.
Not so much. Well, actually, I'll start with one question and then comment a bit. It says the define restrictions of delegations to topics, including subjects that do not, or restrictions so do not fall within the jurisdiction of local government bylaws. We often get, well, not often, but I think occasionally we get delegations from people just keeping us up to date on things. It's not something that would be, within our purview. Do you see that restricts them in some way because it's not something they're talking about, something that isn't our area? Like I say, Interior Health has come and given us updates on things as a delegation.
Through the mayor to Councillor Barkwell. So at the end of the day, council has the discretion under any of its bylaws to permit any delegation. So if there was a topic that council found of interest but may not be completely within the jurisdiction, council could still permit that delegation.
So it would have to come through staff up to council as a resolution to hear from a particular group. And okay, well, we'll see whether that becomes cumbersome or not. The other part is I've had comments from the public that I was really enthusiastic about the idea of having it at the public comment at the beginning of the meetings instead of having to wait through the whole meeting at the end. But they pointed out that the meetings start in the afternoon when a lot of people are working. And so it's very difficult for some people to get away to have their say about whatever it is on their mind, I say on a Tuesday at noon. So I wondered if we couldn't amend the procedure bylaw to have a second opportunity, not change anything else about the number of times and the number of people and such, but just to say that if you, if it was important to you, or if there's to speak and you couldn't make it during the day, that you could come at the 6 o'clock time period at the start of the second half of the meeting. And that would just be changing the agenda to include second delegation opportunity or something.
Through the mayor to Councilor Barkwell, that's up to council should you guys choose to make any further amendments.
I guess the point of having it at the beginning is that people will want to speak to an agenda item before we actually discuss it and make a decision on it.
I'm speaking of the non-agenda items that they might want to speak to.
Well, we won't have that one anymore.
The delegates provided supporting me. Oh, no, I didn't think that this limited to you to to only the agenda items. I thought it was any comments plus the business items. See, I misunderstood because you still, yeah.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think Councillor Barkwell might still be talking about delegations as opposed to the previously referenced open-ended public comment opportunity at the end of the meeting, which we're eliminating.
Oh, to appear as a delegation.
Yeah, I mean, the only way you can make a comment is you appear as a delegation, right? So you can speak as a delegation to any particular thing.
Okay.
And I'm just suggesting that it would be easier for some people that, you know, was a serious enough concern to call me. In fact, I've spoken to 2 people with that same concern, that they would not be able to, we're limiting people by making it during the day only. So if we could just add a second delegation opportunity to the agenda at the start of the 6 o'clock meeting, I think that problem would be solved.
That would make sense. Is that doable? You could have one delegation slot in the afternoon and one in the evening. Councillor Peak.
That was exactly the point that I was going to speak to as well, Councillor Barkwell. I thoroughly endorse the fact that working people as a delegation would not be available in the afternoon. And that's part of the reasons that councils went to evening meetings, because people needed the opportunity to do their presentations. I also agree with the fact that a person, an individual, can be a delegate, not just an organization. So I think those are 2 things that are very important in this redo.
Councillor Betts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, so if just to kind of further this line of thought, so if we were to approve this change, I think what I'm hearing is that we would still leave it at a maximum of 4 delegations per day, and that we could hear the delegations, 4 delegations per meeting. Yeah, who may do that up to 4 times a year, but who may attend at either the 1 o'clock or the 6 o'clock after our intermission in the middle. I would be behind that as long as we still limit it to the 4. It's just a matter of accommodating time of day, if that would work for corporate officer and staff.
CEO.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through to Councillor Betts. Yeah, I mean, certainly I think it's within the realm of the possible. Maybe a further clarification question for Councillor Barkwell. It sounds like the rationale you're putting that forward with some people having to work or have other obligations and can't come until later in the meeting. So I just test that assumption then that it couldn't be the same organization or the same person twice in the same meeting. So not in the beginning and later on. The idea would be if you couldn't make the first. I think I heard you say that. I just wanted to clarify to make sure.
That's my understanding. And if nothing else was changed other than the addition of that time slot, then every other rule would still apply. And so I brought up the fact that you still have your opportunity to do it, say through Zoom and or such. And they said, well, no, they can't get away. They simply couldn't during the day. And they're a community engaged person, and I thought, yeah, it seems reasonable. Yeah.
Counselor Patton.
Thank you, Worship. I like the morning or the 1 o'clock and the 6 o'clock. I think that's great because what I've heard also is that our citizens don't want to lose that ability to talk to us about items that are not on the agenda. But they also, the way that our meetings have been going haven't been all that productive, or the comment sections haven't been all that productive. And so I still want to hear what they have to say because there's some very good things that come out of those comment sections or comment periods. So I think this way it would be the best of both worlds where we'd give 2 opportunities and they'd still have the opportunity to speak to us about anything that comes across their table.
Counselor Barkle.
The other thing that I worry a little bit about is the limit of 4 delegations per meeting. Like in a church such as today, we have quite a few people who want to speak about the dog park. And if they're only going to speak for a minute or 2, then why shouldn't we try and accommodate as many people as possible? Is there a way to accommodate maybe more within the time constraints we have? I'm just throwing that out for some ideas maybe.
Well, I would suggest the reason so many people want to speak about the dog park today is because it's on the agenda. And so nothing would change. It's an agenda item. Counselor Betts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think one of the positive changes that would come from allowing delegations to appear in this manner would be having a more organized presentation from the delegations who do come to choose to present to council, which I think is really important to provide presentation slides, to provide a prepared cohesive presentation that is talking about an issue of importance to local government, to them that operates within the parameters that we've also put out here. And so while still allowing people to present on agenda items at the beginning of the meeting remains a really important public comment opportunity. So I think that this strikes a really fair balance. Personally, I like the idea of having a limit of how many times you may appear as a delegation per year, in that we want to support as many voices coming to council as possible and not repeating the same message necessarily, and having the opportunity to come forward with a well thought out and planned presentation to convince council of the importance of their issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Patton.
Thank you, Worship. So just for clarification, if there's an item on the agenda, then there's no change of how it is today. They can come forward and they can speak of the item that's on the agenda. But the delegation is only to speak of anything that is not on the agenda. Am I correct in putting that together?
That's my understanding, with the exception that Bill 44 limits certain things that people can't speak on. Okay, so if we wish to make the changes that Councillor Barkle is suggesting, can we do that now, corporate officer?
Thank you, Mayor Holmes. Yes, Steve will just put, or IT will put the motion up on screen.
Okay, as amended, and the amendment part is the two slots for delegations. Councillor Barkle.
So a delegation time slot has usually been 5 minutes, hasn't it? Or I mean, some have been very long. Is that 5 minutes still in there? Isn't, yeah. Okay.
Councillor Betts.
Thank you. I'd like to move the motion that council procedures amendment bylaw number 2024-027 be read a first, second, and third time as amended to include a second delegation opportunity at 6 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a seconder, Councillor Peak? Any further discussion? Don't see any. I'll call the question. All in favor? And none opposed. That carries. 7.7. RDOS noxious weeds. I don't think the RDOS is the noxious weed, but noxious weed control. Who's taking this, corporate officer?
Yeah, that will be me. Thank you, Mayor Holmes. So the purpose of RDOS amendment bylaw number 2065.03/2024 is to combine the noxious weed control and nuisance control services and the control of caterpillars and noxious and destructive insects and functions into a single invasive species service. Section 346 of the Local Government Act requires that municipalities provide consent on behalf of the electors to the amendment of the bylaws. Both the noxious, invasive weed and nuisance control services are regional services, and all municipalities and electoral areas in the RDOS currently participate. If the district consents to the adoption of the amendment bylaw, and if the amendment bylaw is ultimately adopted, there will be no additional financial implications as a result of combining the services and functions into a single service. The services and functions are currently accounted for in the RDOS's 5-year financial plan. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions on the amendment bylaw.
Thank you. Any questions? Not, somebody could bring the motion forward. Councillor Van Elfen. Second. Councillor Betts. Any discussion? Councillor Betts?
I would just like to say that thank you, Mr. Mayor, that it seems like a reasonable proposition, and that when the staff report supports the move, so I'm in support of that.
I think the simplification as always makes a difference, and as long as we're addressing all the programs and services that we normally would, that this is the way we should proceed.
Yeah, we just don't really respect municipal boundaries. All in favor? Any opposed? None opposed, that carries. 7.8, security loan authorization. Director of Finance or corporate officer?
Thank you, Mayor Holmes. It's me again.
Oh, sorry, CIO, did you want to say something first? Okay, corporate officer, okay.
Thank you, Mayor Holmes. So loan authorization, Prairie Valley Road upgrades bylaw number 2024-004 received the provincial certificate of approval on June 10th, 2024. With that, the district may proceed directly to long-term debt financing through a regional district security issuing bylaw. All long-term financing under Section 179 of the Community Charter must be done through a regional district and the Municipal Finance Authority. Municipalities with approved loan authorization bylaws must request that their regional district undertake the borrowing on their behalf by forwarding to the regional district a municipal security issuing resolution. Following this meeting, staff will forward the security issuing resolution to the RDOS to continue the process of long-term borrowing with the goal of meeting the requirements for fall 2024 borrowing for the project. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions on the bylaw or the resolution, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Worship. So with the loan authorization happen now and going towards the regional district, we're still moving ahead with the Prairie Valley this year, or was that for 2025?
Through the mayor, it's the plan is to start this year and finish in 2025. So sort of half the project this year and then the finalize it next year.
Thank you, Joe.
And sorry, Joe, maybe just for everybody, if you could just remind us what the elevator speech of what the project is.
Absolutely. So the project is basically an upgrade, a road upgrade, including a bike lane from the bottom of Morrow to the bottom of Cartwright, or to the end of Cartwright along Prairie Valley Road. So we'll be upgrading the road, putting in a bike lane. We'll also be, there's a water main under there from the 30s. So we'll be replacing that water main at the same time. And then there's also a developer-driven, so funded by a developer, sewer upgrade that's going to be for about half of the project we'll be installing there. So they'll have access to sewer. So we'll probably be going to tender in the next month or two. We just have to ensure that the Dale Meadows project is complete in case we need it as a bypass route if something goes sideways on this project. Once that's fully completed, we can move forward with the Prairie Valley part.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Barkwell.
So does this mean you'll be digging up the whole road from Morrow to Cartwright, and then it'll be all winter unpaved and gravel and big potholes and such, because you got to stop for the winter?
That's a great question. And something that we're putting into the tender is that they're going to get as far as they can within the paving window and then pave. It can be a lower lift of asphalt that they pave there, but we can't have it as a gravel surface through the winter. There's a lot of large trucks and stuff going through there. So we'll get as far as we can. And prior to winter hitting us, likely the end of October, we'll just have to pave what we have done at that point, and then we'll just open it up in the spring once we feel we can actually start construction again.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Worship. Sorry, Joe. So if we're adding the bike lane, can you please refresh me? We're also doing a road widening there? Because I believe that when there was a 2-lot subdivision that was on that corner, the inside corner, we did take a road allowance there for future, and that is, so we are looking at a road widening?
Correct. We do have a road widening, an expansion. The developers did provide some real estate on the north side of the road. So the bike lane will be on that side of the road to match up with the quasi bike lane on the east end of Prairie Valley Road in front of Giants Head School along there.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Pink.
I'm certainly in favor of what we're doing. I have had some comments from people in the neighborhood on the multi-use pathway and some difficulties in terms of the traffic on and whether we can do some delineation because they had expected to have a sidewalk plus a bike lane. So if we can look at some of that opportunity on when we do that. No, I'm mixing it up with the other project. I am thinking Victoria. Pardon me, Joe.
Okay. All right. No further questions. Somebody wants to bring a motion forward? Councillor Betts, second by Councillor Van Elfen. Any further discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor and none opposed. That carries. And moving on to the next one, corporate officer for the wastewater treatment plant upgrades.
Thank you again, Mayor Holmes. I won't repeat everything from before, but similarly, loan authorization, wastewater treatment plant upgrades, primary clarifier bylaw number 2024-005, received the provincial certificate of approval on June 10th. The district may now request through the security issuing resolution that the RDOS undertake the borrowing on our behalf and continue the process of long-term borrowing with the goal of meeting all the requirements for fall 2024 borrowing. And I'm happy to take any questions on the resolution for this one.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions? Don't see any. Somebody want to bring motion forward? Councillor Peak, Councillor Patton, any discussion? Councillor Betts?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to, illuminate to the public who are here today that these are both projects that are many, many months in the making, and that we do a deep dive into the details and the financing and the plans earlier on in these projects. And when they come to this part of the business meeting and we're approving the financing, it's kind of the final step. And it's not just making a rash decision. This is many, many months in these plans and based on our strategic priorities of council. And I just think that that's important to keep in mind when we're just voting through these major borrowing pieces here. So I just wanted to put that in there. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a fair comment. We're just not winging it here. it's, yeah, it's all about our commitment to investing in our infrastructure. It's the most important thing we do. I'll call the question then. All in favor? None opposed? That carries. Item 710, burn removal at Summer landfill. Mr. Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The district has a lease agreement with Cantex Okanagan Construction Limited for a gravel production facility at the landfill. As part of the agreement, the district of Summerland is responsible for removal of any surface contaminants within the site as the gravel extraction area evolves. Cantex are currently in a position where they require expansion to the north of the site within the next few months. Prior to this expansion, a significant berm is required to be moved by the district. The estimated costs for moving this berm are about $60,000, and we're proposing that this come from the landfill improvement reserve, which has an estimated $615,000 left in it. Cantex, the royalties that the district received from Cantex over the past 5 years averaged about $85,000 annually. It's anticipated that this is going to increase significantly, potentially up to double starting this year. So they are mining further and further into their lease area. And it was inevitable that we were going to have to move this berm at some point, but they've come to that time a little earlier than we thought. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Councillor Bartle.
Isn't this berm made from the same material that they're processing for gravel? So could they just not use it?
Through the mayor, in a perfect world, yes, but unfortunately it's not. It's a bunch of different types of materials, and so we're having to sort it and move it to an alternate location. A lot of it's organic material, and any organic material can't be put into processed material that's sold to like a concrete plant, for example. It has to be pure gravels in there. So unfortunately not.
Okay, and Councillor Betts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Joe, can you just explain to us or remind us about how much longer this would extend? So this investment in moving this berm, which is part of our agreement with them, how much additional time will that give them, Cantex, in that space without further removals on our part?
Great question through the mayor. So the lease is for another 10 years that we have with Cantex up at that site. And this berm is sort of right in the middle of the site. So once we move this berm, there might be some small little sections in the future that we have to move, but the majority of it is what we're moving at this time right now.
Thank you.
Any further questions? So I want to bring forward a motion. Councillor Peak, staff recommendation. Yeah. Second, Councillor Betts, any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? None opposed. That carries. Item 8.1, bylaws for adoption. This was passed last time. So adopting now. Someone like to bring that forward? This is the bylaw notice enforcement amendment bylaw. Councillor Betts, Councillor Peak, any discussion? All in favor? None opposed? That carries. Items removed from the consent agenda, the Campbell River letter. Councillor Betts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I brought this letter out for just a small amount of discussion because it's talking about, Campbell River is talking about the province's responsibilities in continuing to manage our province's forest and forestry sector, and just how important that is. And when we were at the SILGA conference in Kamloops, listening to the wildfire presentations, one gentleman was a strong proponent of forestry management through forestry, or forest management through forestry, and taking the opportunity to harvest wood before it is burnt down through wildfires. And I thought that was a really valid point. Something that I also learned at that presentation, actually in a follow-up with this gentleman, this professional, is that when an area is harvested by a company in forestry, they are legislatively required to replant. However, when forest fires blast through our province, nobody is required to replant that area because actually they're very unsafe. You have to knock down trees, you have to do all sorts of things to be able to replant those areas. And That was a really stunning, just little fact to me. So I just wanted to kind of continue to have this discussion on what we're doing as our district and as part of our province in managing our forests in light of wildfires just continuing to grow with climate change. Thank you.
Okay. So you just want to bring that for information, really? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
For information.
No, appreciate
I don't know what else we can do. Like, can we send this letter forward? How do we be supportive of forestry in our province?
Yeah, well, I mean, this letter is more to do with mill closures than forest management, but that's a different issue, altogether. It's been around for a while. Yeah, we keep lobbying and we keep up the current efforts. Yeah. And just as an aside on that, we at FCM, the mayor of Yellowknife was there speaking about what they went through last summer, and it was pretty fascinating discussion. Lots of things, lessons learned about moving forward. So I'll talk to you about that later. So we'll just need a motion to receive this letter for information. Councillor Betts, Councillor Van Elfen, all in favor? And that carries. Public comment period. I have a few people pre-registered, so I'll ask 2 minutes per speaker. And again, I'll ask you to keep it to 2 minutes. So first up is Willie Petrus. If you could just push the button there, so the red light comes on.
Right?
Yeah,
Yep,
perfect.
I should know by
Okay.
now. Okay, I'll make it short. Every year, the school buses come at this time to Peach Orchard Park. And they spill all the kids out of the bus for the day, for running, playing, picnicking, and even swimming. The beach isn't that great there, but they are in the water too. Last year, unfortunately, on June 28th, 2023, with the dog pen set up already, they came to a diminished park. It was diminished because it was divided in half. It was not the usual space that they have enjoyed over the years. I have a photograph of the 4 school buses, but I think you will take my word for it. I have another photograph here where the children are herded to the south side of the park on this particular day. Why take the photograph? Because while the children are playing and they're running all around, and the 1 acre dog pen is already set up, someone decided that it was nice to play fetch with their dog outside the dog pen. And that's what they do. Many of the dog owners are not honoring, after all the money that has been spent so far and all the time that we have spent on this, they, for whatever reasons they have, they like to be outside the dog pen. In this particular case, all the children were there, and there were 4 school buses, big 4 yellow school buses. So we're talking over 100 kids. What would, anyway, okay. It happens more than you know. Certainly also taking the dogs off the leash to swim across from the dog pen. There are more photographs of dogs playing in the volleyball court, also playing with their dog's fetch.
I'll have to ask you to wrap up.
All right, I will. I just want to say that I agree with Mike that this is becoming a single-use park. I agree with this gentleman that there's so many wonderful options for families with croquet, with bocce ball, with chessboards.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Have to stop you there, I'm sorry.
All right.
Okay, thank you very
Well-
much. Lisa Slyzik, please, if you'd like to speak again.
Okay, just a few more things to say. To say that we presented many reasons why the current fence at Peach Orchard Park must be removed. Dog owners can still enjoy their activities in a location that is more appropriate and considerate of the community. As you have discussions later on today about the future of the POP park, I suggest you ask yourself, would I like to have a dog park in my backyard? Would I be able to put up with the barking from the time I get up until I go to bed? Would you still enjoy family barbecues? Would you be able to concentrate on your work? Would you still have the same comfort and enjoyment of your home that you currently have if you're exposed to constant barking? Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Kosmak?
Just continuing on from where I left off. One thing, there's a perception out there on social media, Facebook, etc., that anyone who opposes the location of this dog park, the temporary dog park down in Peach Orchard, are dog haters. And I know for a fact that's far from it. We're all dog lovers. Many of us who oppose this location are dog owners. We also think that an off-leash, fenced-in dog park is needed in Summerland. And we agree that a community of dogs and owners has been and can be a part of a dog park. You guys have proven that. However, Peach Orchard Park is not that location. It's been taken away from the rest of the residents as described, and it's become a single-use dog park. With respect to the with the owners community, we're glad that you guys have built that. However, this would continue at any location, whether it be Living Memorial Park, the Canyon View location, Trout Creek, etc. So it's just not the right location for all the reasons that we've stated, and the opinions voiced by nearly 2,000 residents and visitors to Summerland on the petition. I want to thank again, I got cut off at the end. Thank the mayor and whomever on council was behind the motion that's going to be tabled tonight to direct Parks and Rec to find a suitable location. And again, we hope that the discussion here is a civil discussion. No name calling, no bullying, no swearing, and no more accusations. This has been happening on social media, specifically Facebook. All of these accusations and comments are unfounded and absolutely untrue for anyone that I know that is opposed to this park. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, anyone else like to speak? Just come up to the podium, please.
Hi, Council, Brad Besler. I want to correct the record on some things that were said today. Graham Stats said the new council procedure is, quote, more expansive. And you know that's not true. 4 delegations were always allowed to appear. You know that. We all know 4 delegations were always allowed to appear. This is not expansive. This is a bad faith attempt by council to restrict the public. Councillor Patton today said that public comment period for non-agenda items is, quote, not productive. In January 2023, there was a discussion about the pier rotting away. Mayor Holmes specifically said that the pier was not a priority. I spoke at public comment and I made clear that, yeah, the pier is a priority, and you subsequently heard how important it is for the community. So I dispute your claim that saying public comment is not productive, especially with all due respect coming from the councillor who's missed more meetings than anybody this term, and it's not even close, you know it. And Councillor Betts, she also said she wants to hear from voices, right? But you literally just voted to remove public comment at the end of council meetings when you know it didn't take a lot of time. So that speaks to your hypocrisy. Councillor Peak said that now individuals can speak as delegations. They always could. That's where Graham Stat is misleading you. Delegations could always register as individuals. You've witnessed individuals speak as delegations So there's no change there. This is not expansive. Everyone can see what's going on. It's a sign of weakness. You're not going to silence me. If you know anything about me, you've opened a can of worms because like I say, I'm going to go to the peer ceremony. I'm going to tell everyone how Graham Stat is lying and that you haven't done nothing about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else like to speak?
My name is Sue Panov. I live on Turner Street in Summerland. We go to the park just about every day for taking my little sausage down there to lose some weight, and she just loves it. There's very little barking that I've heard when we've been there. We couldn't go before because there was so much goose poop down there, and as you know, that carries an awful lot of disease, so we couldn't even walk on the walkways and such. On my street, everyone has to put up with stuff. We have to live with motorcycles constantly using our street as a racetrack. And we have loud jake brake noise at 2 o'clock in the morning. But our street itself is a motorcycle hub. I don't want you to spend any more money on consultation when this park here, I mean, everybody has to live with where they are, right? Where would you like to put it? It has to be close for older folks. The boats are more noisy than the dogs are. We used to go to Penticton all the time, and now we go to Peach Orchard. We go to Yaki's, we grab a pizza and go down there with the dog. And I would really like you to keep it, please. We go for coffee at that nice little new ice cream shop that's on Butler or somewhere. So we don't just take the dog down there. I've met with some really nice people, and then we go for a coffee afterwards, like ice cream, or like I said, we go to Yaki's. So please keep it down there. There's a lot of older people using it. I understand the residents' concerns. I get it, but I have to put up with what I have to put up with on my street as well. And I can't do anything about it either. So yeah, please keep it there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Carly Simpson. To the last lady who spoke, sorry for riding my motorcycle past your house. And also I have this rooster across the road, super annoying, and their dogs bark all the time too. I've lived in Summerland most of my life, and I've never hung out at Peach Orchard because it's not a great beach and place to hang out. Now I can say I probably went to Peach Orchard 100 times this winter. I met my partner there. I've met friends there, and my mom's also met friends there. I think it's a perfect location, and I think it is an absolute multi-use park. One of the great things I like about it is that you can actually bring kids down and watch them play and supervise them while you have your dog playing. I think being able to go there for, a half hour, enjoy the park, there and back within a half hour if you need to, whereas some of these farther away locations like Sunoka, great place, but it's not contained. And it also has more of a time commitment. Sorry. I got all excited about the roosters. Super annoying, but I'm not going to petition against it. I know there's been arguments regarding the Peach Orchard Beach being already down there, and that's a reason not to approve the park. But the Peach Orchard Beach is not a great spot for year round. It's not contained. I've personally had my dog escape out of there and almost get hit because there's no way for it to be contained when dogs can swim. It's also not full accessible for everybody, nor is it all year round. Most people don't want their dogs to get wet or sandy. Thanks. Sorry, I had a bunch of points, but I just get nervous and
That's all right.
can't talk. And also, thank you for having the meetings at 6 p.m. because this is my first council meeting. I really did enjoy it, but my boss won't let me take off any more random Tuesdays. So
Okay, thank you. Anyone else, please? Yeah.
Okay, different classes. Okay, my name is Pamela Ayad, 7720 Prairie Valley Road. Good afternoon, everyone. Someone mentioned about signatures and numbers and things like that. First, I want to engage that. Their online petition but have they brought in actual signatures with real names, real signatures with our locals? We have those numbers. We have 1,508 numbers, signatures, real signatures. If we were to count, and we're not counting our online, that was used as a basis source of information to the public. But that's another 6,000. So we're bringing, if we included that, which we're not, because those numbers can be skewed because anyone can sign online petitions. But if we included that, that'd bring us up to 2,198. Okay, I'm done with that. Now, just want to let you know, we did the recent photo shoot, like Robert mentioned, on Sunday in support of the Peach Orchard Dog Park getting permanent, right? It was amazing turnout. I was so impressed. We had like 60, I call them humans, and then about 54 dogs. We had maybe 2 little scraps, but you think about bringing dogs of all different personalities coming together one spot. They did really good. And everyone is excited, and to see everybody talking and enjoying themselves, this is what a community is all about. Nobody's going to be happy. Like I live over where there's trucks and there's what is it called? The horns that scare the birds away from the orchards. We all have to live where there's something that irritates us, but we do our best. We have to come together as a community to make sure everybody's included. This is a multi-use park. Now, I know the opposing group, but they really have not bought any logical reasoning for their opposition. To me, it's just a few. If we look at the bigger picture, we need to look at the majority, not the minority, because if we all did that, nothing would get done at council. You'd be here forever deciding. Sometimes you have to make that call, and sometimes it can be a little hard, but we've exhausted every place. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Yep. Anyone else?
Hi, council. My name is Michelle Stephen. I said the last time, this time. I just want to point out, looking online here, Penticton has a total of 6 dog parks. 5 of them, or 6 of them, they plan to actually upgrade. The locations are, one is at River Park, where they have all those skate parks and everything there. Okanagan Lake Park. Skaha Lake Park has 2 locations. Water treatment plant near Penticton, I guess, is another location. So they're taking the time and effort to actually provide that for the community. I would say Peach Orchard is a great location because it is multi-use. A park is supposed to be multi-use, which includes people, children, people with dogs. But that location is providing a safe space for our animals and also for our people as well. I appreciate that you guys are taking the time and doing this for us. We live out in Garnet. We bought a property out there, built a home. We thought, oh, this is great, beautiful view. It's quiet, blah, blah, blah. Well, we have cows that moo constantly and I love it now, but at first it was daunting, I gotta say, especially when they remove the calves, it's very loud. We have roosters that go quite all through the night, but you have coyotes. I mean, there's certain things that you can't control, and no matter where you live, you're gonna have something, as we know. Sometimes you get used to it, sometimes you don't. We lived in Trout Creek on the highway and we had noise constantly. And I have to say I got used to it because when we moved to Garnet, I couldn't even sleep because it was so quiet, and then I got used to the cows. So hopefully eventually we can get used to wherever we live. There's going to be some changes that we have to get used to. So thank you for taking the time, and I really hope when you choose a spot, it will be inclusive to everybody and everybody will appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else?
I've never done this before, so. I'm Janice Pym and I live on Julia Street. I oppose the dog park. There's a couple of reasons why. I had my grandchildren down there the other day and somebody was transporting their dog from the dog park into their car and didn't have it leashed, and it went after my granddaughter. So in that case, who's responsible? Everybody says the dog owner, but if you're going to put a dog park there, that's the city of Summerland. Are you responsible if she gets bit? Just out of curiosity, because the dog nipped my granddaughter. And another reason is the smell of urine. Everybody says you can't, but when you walk past the park, it smells like urine. So are you going to put something in place to get rid of the smell of urine? it is a public park for everyone, and it should be made that everyone can use it. And if you want to keep the dog park there, then give the beach back or make the dog park smaller. Like, let the kids be kids. With all this building you're doing, you need parks for children and dogs. But if you make a dog park, can you not put it someplace that's not at the beach? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Darian McWaters again, longtime Summerland resident. I've been a home and property owner for many years, but I'm a condo owner now, and I have a very active Australian Shepherd. Some people would say, well, why would you have an active dog in a condo? She's awesome because she gets me outside. We go to Conkle, we go up Giant's Head, we go all over the place, but sometimes she needs socializing, and that's what an off-leash enclosed dog park is for her. It gives her some social interaction so she becomes a better dog. As per the question, yes, if your dog bites someone, that is your responsibility. And that comes down to dog responsibility as making sure that your dog is leashed from the vehicle to the pen, to the park. And my dad once often said when I came to him at work with an issue, he goes, don't come to me with problems, come to me with solutions. And I believe we have. And this is a multi-use park. It is still a spray park. It is still a picnic area, still someplace where you can play beach volleyball. It's still someplace where you can go to the water. It's a place where you can actually take your dog into an enclosed bathing area, as well as a dog park. Tired of hearing NIMBYs. It's been part of my life growing up in this town, not in my backyard. Well, it has to go somewhere. And this is the best, most inclusive place for everybody. Someone will always be, upset with something, but this is the best utilized space in an area that was just covered with geese, covered with goose feces, 365 days of the year. This is the best place. Please keep it there, make it permanent. This is about true community. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I wasn't planning to speak, but I'm just going to address an issue here that keeps coming up here. Robert Hacking, 7720 Prairie Valley Road. SDOA supported Peach Orchard in its 2016 presentation, and we support Peach Orchard Park today. So what was different in 2017? In 2017, catastrophic flooding was occurring across BC. Significant damage occurred to Summerland's waterfront, damaged its walkways, and flooded many parks, one of which was Peach Orchard. In spite of the flooding and the damage to Peach Orchard Park, better site options were being excluded from consideration at that time. That was the concern. Peach Orchard at that time was unsuitable, and suitable options were being ignored. So what changed? What's changed now? Shore mitigation has taken place. There's volunteers on Earth Day that went and planted trees in many parks, and that's part of the work they've done. And there's been a significant improvement in how the Okanagan Basin Water Board manages their risk, the water levels, and downstream needs. This improved cooperation and communication across the board in all levels has meant that lake levels are managed far better than they were in 2017. The other suitable sites have been in time identified, but unfortunately have not been pursued. Council chose in 2023 to give Peach Orchard a try, and look how well it's working. Council took a risk. We see the community has embraced it. We chose to support council in the risk they took and support the result. We can get myopically focused on the past and stay stuck there. We choose to move forward and embrace the opportunities that come and show that when they are successful and bearing fruit. Now, a long time ago, I sat in your chairs, a really long time ago now, and they're very difficult chairs sometimes. I saw the value of strong debate with good discussion. And I also saw the value of being able to change one's mind. We changed our mind on the park.
Okay, thank you very much. Press the button to turn the light on there.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, dear council,
I believe I was pre-registered, but my name is Henry Slizik. I am here to express the concerns and frustration that we have been enduring for past 13 months. The Dog Owner Association came up together to take photos of their dogs enjoying the park. Nobody is denying them this enjoyment and social benefits that comes with it. However, that can be achieved at any other location. Where are the photos of the children playing sports? Where are the photos of fitness classes? Where are the photos of weddings, picnics, birthday parties? Where are the photos of children of school field trips? Why are these activities not considered important? The claims that noise is not an issue are untrue. We have been listening to this misinformation for last year and a half. Is it really believable that group of dogs coming together isn't going to generate any noise? We experience constant barking noise intrusion in our living rooms, bedrooms, and patios. We have sent videos of barking to the council and articles of how chronic exposure to barking impacts the well-being of individuals. It is unacceptable to place a dog park in a high-density neighborhood of 75 households. Our issue is with the city of Summerland and the decision to place park in a location that disrupts our daily lives. This situation has not been resolved for the last 13 months. How long do you think we can endure this? We have the same right to enjoy our home without constant barking like every other Summerland citizen. For these reasons, the dog park needs to be removed immediately. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else?
Hello, my name's Elsie Williams. I live at 14451 in Downton Avenue. I want to thank everybody here for letting us have this time to speak. I'm a dog owner as of a year and a half ago. Before that, I used to go down to Peach Orchard Park all the time, and there was dogs there off leash during September or October to May. The dog owners always seem very responsible. Now with the dog park there, 90% of the dogs are in the dog park, running, having fun, playing. And then you have access to the water park, which cools them down. If you move this park to another area where there's no water access, people aren't going to go during the summer. It's too hot out there for the dogs. They can't run in the summer. If you move it there, older people aren't going to go in the evening because they don't feel safe. I've talked to a number of women there that go down there, older women, and they wouldn't go to an off-leash dog park that's way out of town. They just won't do it. They don't feel safe. They don't know if there's going to be anybody else there. When they arrive there, this place always has someone there in the evening. During the day, I go down there twice a day with my dog, and during the day, there is very few people there because they're working. I'm there with my dog. There's maybe 10 other dogs there, and I don't hear constant barking. I live at Tuscan Terrace. I don't hear constant barking. I can sit out on my girlfriend's patio, who also lives there, and she doesn't hear constant barking. So the noise level we find isn't that bad. It's very inclusive. The handicapped people have access. Elderly people have access. There's ample parking. The washrooms are there. I think you guys made a really, really good choice by putting the park there. So I'd ask you to please keep it there. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. And anyone else? See at least one person who hasn't spoken yet. Say want to or not. Okay. Then call it a day. I'd like a resolution to close the meeting to public pursuant to sections 91 C, E, I, and M of the Community Charter. Councillor Van Elfen, Councillor Betts, all in favor?